We have reviewed different town mods on this channel before, like Cities of the North and Better Settlements even, but the truth is, I have ignored one hugely successful mod series that is out there. Of course, I'm talking about the Great Cities of Skyrim compilation. For those who are not familiar with them, the Great Cities aim to transform Skyrim's towns to a whole new level, overhauling them completely and changing them to how they were always meant to be, as the author Arkinetic claims. I haven't tried these mods before, so it'll be my first time seeing these redeemed overhauls in action. In this video, we'll be going over how the Great Cities of Skyrim mods change Winterhold, Solitude, Morthal, Falkreath and Dawnstar. Now let's jump straight into the frosty Winterhold, which has actually gotten a brand new update recently. Legends tell that the ancient city of Winterhold was built by magic in the first era. Be that the truth or not, it became an affluent, powerful city, measuring up to Solitude in terms of strength and status. It even served some time as the capital of Skyrim. All of this greatness ended when an endless storm ravaged Winterhold, to a point where most of the city was washed away to the Sea of Ghosts below. This phenomenon, called the Great Collapse, caused most of the people who were left alive to leave Winterhold, reducing this bustling city into a real ghost town. I know, this is a mod video and not a lore video, but the lore is so relevant here, because when we look at vanilla Winterhold, some questions should naturally arise. Why is such a historical, prestigious city just a couple of farmhouses? Where is all the architecture akin to the college? Where are the stone walls? Where are the ruins? Well, the Great City of Winterhold fixes everything I mentioned. When entering the city, you immediately notice the change in the atmosphere. The entrance is huge and impressive. Winterhold is strongly fortified, like the other important cities in the province. In the distance, you can see the college, which doesn't stand that much out of the scenery because of the similar architecture, which makes perfect sense. When taking the first steps into the city, you'll first notice how huge, even endless, the city feels. The second thing you notice is the Frozen Hearth Inn right next to the gates, which interiors have been redesigned as well to fit in with the rest of the city. Right on the other side of the inn is the Jarl's Longhouse, which is now actually a castle. When exploring Winterhold, you can find abandoned homes everywhere, and completely destroyed huge buildings and forgotten temples and halls, now only snow covering the floors. You can just imagine the past glory days of Winterhold when walking around these streets. Everything is huge and ruined and empty and quiet. Winterhold now looks appropriate next to the college. For the first time, they feel in sync, like they are part of each other, just like they should be. The history of the city feels apparent and it's everywhere. Small details bring everything together. This broken statue, of which I assume is the founder of Winterhold, Archmage Shalidor, is a nice touch. There are also other small interesting details like these lanterns, which I think are Dunmer influence in the city. Looking at this depressing, destroyed Winterhold, you can just imagine the greatness it once had. Almost makes me want to see modders recreate that former glory. The Great City of Winterhold version 4.2 transforms this northern Skyrim town, making it exactly as the great fallen city that the legends and history makes it up to be. Lore-friendly to the max. I'm in serious awe of the scale and extent of this mod. If my grandma played Skyrim, I would definitely recommend this mod to her. So yes, I'm also recommending it to you guys. Next we are visiting Solitude, which rivaled Winterhold back in the day. Seeing the city standing on the stone arch monument for the first time was the moment I truly fell in love with Skyrim so many years ago. For that reason, this capital of the province has a very special place in my heart. Just a small disclaimer before we go any further. The mod author considers this mod outdated, so keep in mind that it doesn't reflect his current ability or skills on modding or design. Now that being said, let's have a look at the Great City of Solitude. Well, actually, we're not going inside the city gates today, because the purpose of this mod is to revamp the city's ports by expanding it with new buildings like warehouses, homes, and shops. Naturally, with all that comes also new NPCs such as guards and vendors to fill out the area, which makes it truly feel like a busy part of the city as it should be. In addition to being the capital, Solitude is known for being a major shipping port and supply line to the Imperial Army. This is quite believable in the vanilla version of the game, but Arkinetic simply takes the concept even further. With all the new ships and all the new buildings added around the docks and the river, the port feels definitely more important and worthy for a real capital city. All of the former empty space around the dock area is filled with buildings and homes. I really like the idea of the city expanding on the other side of the Karth River, because it just feels natural to me. The stone arch itself has undergone small changes too, as you might be able to catch sight of. Using the Great City of Solitude, the busyness of the capital isn't limited to only inside the city gates. Even though the author is planning on updating this mod some beautiful day, it is in my opinion a perfectly good mod the way it is right now. Just be mindful of the compatibility with your load order. This one achieves the right feeling and immersion of the Port of Solitude. Moving on to the neighboring village of Morthal. The mysterious town of Morthal is located in the midst of the foggy Hiiii marshes. I don't know what it is, but somehow this village always feels comfortable in all its creepiness. I do hope some of you can relate to this thought. Even though there are some creepy crawlies at all times outside the town, it's just a nice vibe all around. Anyway, we are here to check out the Great City of Morthal, so let's get right into that. The problem with Vanilla Morthal is the fact that it isn't fortified at all. It would be so easy to attack the city with no plausible way to defend. Also, like I already said, there are some creepy crawlies right outside the city. The Great City of Morthal adds the sorely needed gates, walls and watchtowers around the town. The normal stone bridge has been replaced with a new kind of drawbridge, which is definitely my favorite part of this overhaul. The mod adds only one NPC to the village, a general goods merchant with her own stall, which is a really convenient small addition because in vanilla there isn't a general goods shop in Morthal. Arkinetic has also added more details around the city to make it feel more lived in, and also emphasizes on keeping Morthal feeling like the small town it is and just doesn't want to change it into something it's not. Everything considered, the Great City of Morthal does way less than the other overhauls from the Great City series, but that is in no way a critique. Everything the mod adds in the city is reasonable, and I can't find anything that sticks out from the game atmosphere or breaks the lore. This is a classic case of less is more. The city still looks and feels like good old creepy Morthal, but it has been enhanced to reach its full potential. Got enough of the swamps? Good, because we are heading south. Can you smell the familiar scent of the pine trees? We are finally in the secluded Falkreath. I was so shocked when I saw a meme or a tweet or something claiming that Falkreath is something people actively avoided when playing Skyrim. Please someone tell me that's not true. Some of you might remember that Falkreath is my favorite Skyrim town, so personally, I'm quite excited to see what kind of changes the Great City of Falkreath is going to make. My first impression of the overhauled Falkreath is that the city looks more elevated now, with the mighty and towering Jarl's Longhouse and the surrounding secure stone walls. Just like most of the other city overhauls, this southern town has gained some definite defense against any invaders or wildlife with these new walls surrounding the town as well. The layout of the city center remains the same as before, and the locations are found from the same places as before, but exploring the town feels fresh again thanks to the overhauled look. Arkinetic explains that he wanted to sprinkle in some Cyrodiilic influence in Falkreath, because the town has actually been considered a part of Cyrodiil at one point in history. And don't worry, the pet goat is still there, wandering around and being a cute nuisance as always. The Jarl's longhouse has been changed into this impressive tall building surrounded by walls, which makes it look like an actually important political fortress. The only downside I can think of is that you can't actually access this balcony from the inside, and I just tlc'd my way on it. And of course, I must mention the real crown jewel of the mod, the cemetery. Falkreath is famous for its large graveyard, which is the final resting place of countless honored Nord warriors of history. Now, in vanilla, the graveyard isn't exactly the most prominent, so it is nice to see it getting some attention. It has been expanded and enriched with detailing. The mod also adds a whole new Nordic tomb in the graveyard, which is quite sizable and works great for extra immersion. Nothing much happens inside it though. The Great City of Falkreath adds the village a lot more character through the new silhouette and expanded cemetery. I like how the southern town amidst the pine trees has been freshened up, but the core feeling of Falkreath still remains the same. It just represents the town's story and history better. Maybe by installing this mod, less people will avoid this town? Okay, jokes aside, now go fetch your mittens, because the north awaits. We are heading to Dawnstar, the capital of the Palehold. As you know, we began the Great City journey from the freezing Winterhold. Considering that winter is coming, at least here in the northern hemisphere, I think it's fitting to close the circle with the freezing Dawnstar. Dawnstar is known for its mine and harbor, and as of recently, the horrible nightmares the town's residents have been enduring. It is truly a bleak city to some, and an alluring city to others. I'm not yet sure to which camp I personally belong, but I hope to find out through exploring the city again, now with the help of the Great City of Dawnstar. The mod changes Dawnstar's overall appearance drastically. Just like the previous cities, this one also has new secure stone walls encompassing it, marking the borders of the city and keeping it safe from any kind of attacks. That absolutely makes sense for any major city, don't you agree? The mod also aims to highlight the difference between the upper district and the lower port area, which creates some separation between them and works out well in my opinion. In the upper district you have the Jarl's Hall, inn and defense of the city, and on the lower port area we have the trade. Of course, the port is an important part of the city, at least for those who enjoy the immersion, so it is a delight to see how the port has been expanded from just one sorry ship and a dock. All in all, the mod makes the city appear richer, busier and more influential, making Dawnstar the city it always should have been. Whew, that was a lot. Like I said in the beginning, this was my first time trying out these famous Great City mods, and I must say I am impressed. Arkinetic has created these very specific interpretations of the Skyrim cities, which visually enhance the game experience but also takes lore heavily into account. I wouldn't want to call these Skyrim vanilla cities overlooked or even neglected by the game developer, but Winterhold, for example, has a lot to improve on. That's exactly what the Great City mods does. Improves the cities and expands them without going too crazy. All in all, I would say that the Great City mods succeed in filling the gap between minor and major cities. I didn't experience any noticeable performance issues, and most of it was in Falkreath, which is already a demanding area, but all this depends on your machine. But I believe these mods are quite performance friendly. Before you go, there are some important things to remember when installing any of these mods. You might experience game-breaking bugs or other problems if installing the mods mid-playthrough, so I would definitely advise you to start a completely new save if you want to use them. Another thing is checking if you have any existing mods that would be incompatible with the Great City mods. Usually anything that affects the area of the city is incompatible and you might need a patch for it. Let me know which city overhaul was your favorite. I'm definitely absolutely loving the Winterhold one. Needless to say, it took my breath away. Of course, the Falkreath overhaul was also beautiful. I love the new windmill and the bridge details in the city, not to even mention the expanded graveyard. I know Arkinetic has also made several mods focusing on the villages like Dragon Bridge and Kynesgrove, so let me know if you'd like to see a video focusing on those. That's all for today. Happy modding and see ya! Oh, and if you're still here for some reason, let me know what you think about the editing on this video. I've been experimenting. Okay, now see ya!